Hi everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Growth Tarot, Thursday, February 18th, 2021. I'm Denise, and I'm using a new deck. We'll see how I do. There aren't like any names written. Well, actually, no, not even with the majors. So I may go slower, but if you like it, let me know. If you do like it, I got it on Etsy. It's called A Sawyer's Path, A Tarot Journey by, I think it's yeah. Oh, well, created by Jamie Sawyer. Right, there's her info. Okay, so let's get started. And you can always let me know later whether you like it better or less than the Light Seer's Tarot. I may tend to use both. The backs of these are kind of cool. Okay, so our message for the day, which hopefully can be this will be the theme. Hopefully it can be a spiritual message too that we can take with us to help us evolve. Okay, so what we have, what the heck do we have here? Looks to me like the Page of Swords, because the dude's got on a hat. Yeah, it's a Page of Swords, and it's reversed. And then we also have, you can see how the artist has really, stuck to the Rider-Waite, the tradition of the Rider-Waite, because we have the Ten of Swords here. And then this dude, because of the helmet, I'm guessing is the Knight of Cups. I don't think the deck came with a little book. So this would not be for beginners. But if you're looking for a new deck, I mean it's cute. It's adorable. It looks like maybe tattoo artistry as well. But anyway, okay, so let's get into the reading. So with the Page of Swords reversed, well, dang it, this can be one of those challenging times where there's a little bit of mind games going on, because the swords we're dealing with, are the words we use, how we communicate, and even what we're thinking. So if it's just on the thought level, this could be one of those days where we don't get a lot done, or we start off the morning possibly, but then again, this is the theme throughout the whole day. This could be looked at as the morning, if you wanted to do it that way. It's like morning and, afternoon and evening. I don't tend to read past, present, and future for dailies. I tend to just let's just focus on the day, right? So with the Page of Swords, when it's straight up, we've got, some inspiration and some moving forward and at least some planning, sometimes some unexpected news, because the pages often bring in news of any type. Well, when it's reversed, everything's kind of slowed down and delayed. It could even be a little bit of bad news, so this could just be like news on the news, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be in your life, but it could be that it kind of flavors the day, and it can be a challenge to get yourself out of it. So if that's the case, turn off the news and get back into your own life. Get back into your own life, and especially understand that things that are going on politically, if you're not in that mentality, they don't have to affect your life. You know what I mean? If you're not a corrupt person, if you're not a person who's greedy and just goes for the money, politicians, they can affect our lives, which is why we have, in the United States at least, in other countries too, we have voting systems. We have the power of the people with the right to vote. So you don't worry about, just because we're going through this together at this time in history, that means that there's something wrong or bad, or we've got karma in that place. It can be sometimes that we're meant to go through it so that we can come through the other side. I mean, if you just look at history, and you imagine that there were, over 6, I think, or close to somewhere around 6 million Jews who have gone through genocide. And think of the Armenian genocide. Think of, just think of all over the world where there have been genocides. And imagine us coming back in. Imagine, the very real possibility that, we at least had one lifetime like that. And so we come in with this lifetime, maybe getting the opportunity to truly heal that and move on from it. Because, in those lifetimes we didn't have any power. We didn't have, when you're in an autocratic society, or you're ruled, by a dictator, it's very, very challenging. And of course we might have some soul substance that bought into that belief. Like if you look, for instance, for myself, I had the false belief that I didn't matter. So of course I died in a gas chamber so that I could wake up and realize, well, wait a minute. I didn't do anything wrong, except for I had the false belief that I didn't matter. And we have to go for whatever that false belief is and turn it around. So this may be a lifetime where we're getting to turn around a false belief, and no more mind game, no more falling into the self-judgment where we think that we did something wrong just because we were betrayed. If we were looking at this as being like an issue from the past. Because the Ten of Swords is definitely about betrayal. It's definitely about, some type of an ending in a big change. And you can see it's, often a backstabbing type of a pain, because that's what betrayal is. But at the end of the day, none of us can ever really die. What we do is we just transition into another realm. At least that's what I believe. I mean, you don't have to believe what I believe at all, but I kind of would wonder why you're here on my channel if you're not, if you're not of the same, kindred spirit where we believe that, life evolves and we keep going, that no one can ever really kill us. I mean, yeah, of course they can take us out of this one lifetime, but they can't really kill us. So knowing that, we can look at this card as being just, okay, we're going to get up and move on, and we know that those people aren't trustworthy, or that person isn't trustworthy anymore. And what may seem like a failure and loss and is painful, at least what we can do is move on and know that we're done. Because this situation is about being completely done with something. You're not going to go back. You're not going to go through another round with this type of a person or this type of a situation. You will really be done. So I would say that, we're done with the false beliefs and the mind games and the cruelty sometimes with the Page of Swords reversed, because we're talking about, like I always say, words and thoughts and communications. So these can be sometimes people who don't do what they say. They say one thing and then do another. And they might not even know that they do that. The true spiritual meaning of communication is that your thoughts, words, actions, attitudes are all aligned. They're all aligned towards love, and they're aligned towards fairness and equality. And then wherever we're not, life will mirror that back to us. So sometimes it can be that a relationship, because we do have the Knight of Cups here, a relationship mirrors something back to us that we're needing to finish, needing to complete. Other times it can be, like I was saying before, just a little bit of bad news. Sometimes it can be because of the swords and the wands often being aligned with legal issues. There's that possibility. But for the most part, just don't allow yourself to be manipulated by anyone who has betrayed you in the past. And also be aware of those types of people who are just talking trash. or they're all talk and no action, because a lot of people get off on that. A lot of people have a lot of their pleasure current, tied into what I call negative pleasure, where they like feeding into gossip, gossip and lies and half truths, which is still a lie. Right? There's no difference between a lie and a half truth, really. It's just that one of them kind of, it's like a dog when they look at you and turn their head sideways. When someone says half-truth, it's like Kellyanne Conway and her alternate facts. Well, President Trump just has his alternate facts. Oh, no, the dude lied over 30,000 times his entire presidency. I mean, my goodness. So this guy can come in and expose the lies often. You can just figure it out. And it can be, to me, like this card can be a lot like, let me see if I can find, let me use this deck. If I can find the Fox card really quickly. In the Lenormand, of course, they're all upside down. Let's see, number 14 is in here somewhere. Just so you can get a visual. And then you'll tie the Page of Swords together. Now, I love foxes in nature. But in this deck, in this system, in the Lenormand, the fox is somebody who's cunning, sly, lies, sneaks in, like the fox in the hen house, and you never even saw him coming. These two cards, well, let me actually do it this way too, just so you get a better visual even, because this is not, the traditional Rider-Waite. But it's certainly close. Let's see, page. Here we go. So I look at these two cards as being a lot alike when the page is reversed, okay? Straight up it brings in, information, but reversed, that information is not to be trusted, just like with this guy. Now, the only time with the Lenormand where that changes is when you're looking for work, and let's say that you do freelance work, and let's say that you, this is work, a bunch of little odd jobs. This can be like the Uber driver and the freelance writer, and maybe handyman, handywoman who does a lot of different little jobs here and there, but it's not like the 9-to-5 grind, which would be more akin to like the anchor card. So anyway, with this day, I think it's just looking for the truth, being done with lies, being done with any mind games, being done with any trickery. This could be looked at as like the coyote card too, right? If we had the animal spirit, and I'll use that deck next, animal spirit medicine. And then coupled here with the Knight of Cups, well, he comes in usually with a nice message, and there's there's happiness with it. It's something that you can even be attracted to. Like if this is a love relationship, then I would say, like if someone hit me up for a reading, if we're doing a reading on love relationship and these cards come in, I would say, oh, you're done with the lies and the deceit, and there's a new guy coming in that you're going to be really attracted to, because this is done. So when it's not a love relationship, it can be something that you're really passionate about, because the Knight of Cups is very sensitive and kind of dreamy even. But all the cups, I feel like they're more, well, I hate to say, any of the elements are more creative than the other, but there is that element of creativity. It can sometimes be also, besides, creative inspiration, it can also sometimes be an invitation. It could be even a marriage proposal, but you know, when you've had this type of relationship beforehand, you want to slow down. You don't want to jump on anything. Um, I feel like it's more about something that's creative. I feel more like for most of us, this is going to be about, you know, no more head games, no more mind games. We're done with the past. We're going to free ourselves, just let ourselves move forward towards what it is that we truly want to create. So let me move the cards up here and use the Animal Spirit deck, and that is this one here. If you're interested, it's by Colette Baron Reed. They're big cards though, and they're hard to shuffle unless you use fanning powder ahead of time. Okay, so let's see what we have. Yeah, okay. And then this one right here. Oh, okay, so, oops. With the dolphin spirit, the message on the card is that this and that are true. So that's about staying out of duality. That's about going into the and rather than the either or. And when you're trying to create something new, or you're in that creative space, let yourself experiment is what I'm hearing. And then to be generous of spirit, well, that's about, you know, it doesn't always mean that you have to be generous with money or your time, but in your thoughts, in your spirit, in the core of who you truly are, you can send love to everyone. You can be very, very generous with your love. And, you know, some people, we kind of have to love them from afar. You know, they're not trustworthy, like, you know, some of the political figures I was talking about. What you can do still is, you know, because you don't want to hate on anyone, you know, and if we're in that spirit of hate rather than the compassionate, which, you know, I have to test myself every day in that. I mean, I fail miserably with that one. So don't judge yourself harshly if you do, but what I try to do is catch myself in a thought of, you know, like you hear their voice or you see them say something, and I just want to, you know what I probably truly want to say to them, but I catch myself, reel it back in, try to most of the time, and say, oh, I'll just send them some love because, man, they really need it. Because there's so many people on the planet going through, so many people in positions of power, and this is because we've been going through Pluto moving through Capricorn. And we've needed to, we've been witnessing corruption. We've been witnessing lack of integrity. Pluto in Capricorn brings us through all the stages of lack of integrity into true integrity if we use the energy and consciousness wisely. So wherever we've been seeing a lack of integrity, we have to send those people a lot of love and light. We don't have to love them personally, but from our spirits, we can say, yeah, you know, these people are aligned with greed and hatred, and so we can't affect the planet by aligning, you know, going with that hatred on them. The best thing that we can do for ourselves and for the planet, which would be to include, you know, them, is to just send the love out. And you don't have to do it from a personal place like I really love them. You can just say, you know what, I can't do it as a human, but I'm going to ask my spirit, my higher self, and the bigger part of me, the greater consciousness of me that is aligned with that love, to send love to these people or that person. Because, you know, you don't have to humanly love them. You just have to train your ego to choose to love the core of who they truly are, even though the rest of their personality is shrouded in darkness. Right? If you just know that we're all deep down inside a big piece of love, even though it's covered up most of the time from, these corrupt people, deep down inside, that's who they are because they're here. They're human and they're here. So then moving on, The Badger Spirit says to be fearless and bold. Well, I don't think you can be too fearless and bold unless you believe in love and unless you align with love. And that's the true message with this Lion Spirit here as well. So just to know how fearless it is to align with love and know that love and truth will always prevail. That's the key, just to remember that. Unless you don't believe it. And if you don't believe it, then you'll have experiences of seeing a lot of injustice in your life. Which can be challenging because it just reinforces and justifies the belief. So it's always a belief. Just to pray, which I don't mean like on your knees in some type of a religious, well, it can be a religious experience if you want it that way, because that's really just connecting with your spirit, but I don't mean coming from the rules and regulations of any type of organized religion. What I'm saying is if you intend to know the truth and you always ask for the truth, it'll come through. Eventually it'll come through. And that's especially true when we're in this energy of, this and that are true. Like, what is true is that we are on a dualistic planet, and we are also unitive beings. So the rules don't always apply. They're not always the same. And that takes us into a paradox. And you have to work with your own faith, your own belief system to get to the place where it's no longer a paradox, where you will know the right choice in any given situation. But the right choice is always, to be in a state of love. But when you can't, just ask your spirit to do it for you. And you can even ask your personality self, to align with your spirit. And then just let things play out and just watch it play out. And that, that doesn't mean that just because we're watching things play out, this corruption play out in politics, that doesn't mean that we've done anything to deserve it. Not at all. It may be that this is the lifetime for healing, because we're going to see corrupt people finally pay the price somehow. And we may not see it this lifetime as well, which can be challenging too. But you just have to, well, at least you don't have to do anything, but I have to believe that it will eventually work itself out in some place and time. So, okay, so that's it. Thanks you guys for listening so long, and I'll be back for oh goodness. Well, yeah, I may have done the wrong day ahead of time. Hold on, because I do 2 days ahead okay. I'll stop blabbing and get this figured out and uploaded, and then I'll go from there. Okay, thanks you guys. Bye.